Okay, welcome back to another trading psychology lecture. Now, I wanted to do something a little bit different. This is a very, in my opinion, a controversial, a very difficult conversation or a very difficult decision to come to as a trader. But sometimes the best decision is to give up on trading. And it's interesting because this whole personal development idea or this whole personal development thing is never give up, always stay motivated, always continue, always keep going, that type of stuff, the hustle, the claw, etc., etc. However, what I wanted to do was bring a little bit more objectivity to this whole argument, to this whole decision. Should I give up? Should I not? Because I get a lot of messages from people saying that, Pat, should I give up? Should I throw in the towel? Or I've experienced this and I'm persevering. I wanted to share my thoughts on how you can come to the decision of whether you should persevere or whether you should just throw in the towel and give up as a trader. Or are there maybe other options you can take in between as a gradient to do if you are in a difficult position in your trading? Now, I will just go off and say that I've worked with clients, I've had some coaching clients, two come to mind in particular, where we actually came to the decision together in our coaching calls that it is probably a better decision that you stop trading entirely and you go and pursue this other thing that you love to talk about, that energizes you, that you're inspired by. And I'll just go off and say right now that they're doing exceptional things right now. They trading wasn't for them and they threw in the towel and they objectively worked that decision. We worked together and now they're doing really, really cool things in their life. They're really flourishing. And for those individuals, trading wasn't for them. But I've also seen individuals who, I just wanted them to stick on an extra 6 months or just an extra 3 months, and they were so close to breaking through, but they were impatient, they had unrealistic expectations on the journey, and they threw in the towel just a little bit too soon. So this video hopefully is going to give you more of a guide. It's going to give you some questions to ask yourself, to open your mind to, should you continue on if you're finding trading tough and difficult, or should you give up? This probably won't give you a definite answer, but I will give you some ideas. I will give you some questions to ponder, some thoughts to think, some alternative options to potentially take as a trader to make sure that you're ultimately making the wisest decision for your life. So let's get into it. When is it time to throw in the towel? Now, the trap. I first and foremost want to address this. The continuous cycle of refinements. Now, I'm just going to go on the record and say, because I don't think it's right necessarily, I've seen a lot of gurus or mentors in their community saying that you just need to continue to make one more refinement. Just continue to refine. And that's kind of the language we see in communities that, my results are really poor, but I'm on the brink of breaking through. I just need to make another 1% tweak, or I need to make another refinement. Now, that may be true at some stages, but I've also seen people who are completely delusional about their results, and they're saying that I just need to continue to refine. Now, I've seen this type of language pushed heavily in communities, and unfortunately, it's pushed heavily to keep people on a subscription model so they continue to pay as members of a particular community. Now, that may be offensive to some people. That may be, like, why are you saying this? But it's the truth at times. So again, I want to bring more objectivity to this question. I want to give more of a objective perspective of this. You need to be aware of the agenda of the individual speaking. I think I'm pretty open about my agenda. I want to share some insights. I want to give you guys and girls some really great insights in this YouTube channel for free. A lot of people have transformed their trading just from my YouTube. But I obviously also have an education business, a performance coaching business, where if you guys resonate with the things I talk about in this channel, some of you guys are going to go and buy my program, you're going to buy my course, or you're going to get one-on-one coaching with me. Great. I've got no issues admitting that, but you're going to find very objective information on this YouTube channel. However, unfortunately, in some communities, I've seen people, and by the way, I only teach trading mindset stuff, only trading psychology stuff that I know works because it's worked in my life, it's worked with thousands of clients. So you will get results if you implement the stuff I teach. But I've seen, in particular, teaching trading strategy in a subscription community, they're promoting this whole idea of you just need to refine a little bit more, refine a little bit more. And I don't know if that's necessarily the truth all the time. Okay, so let's break this down. It's important to master the art of knowing when you should refine versus completely pivot versus throw in the towel. There are a few options here. Don't get caught in the trap of, I just need to make another 1% tweak, because you may need to make a complete 360 or 180 turnaround in your trading. You may need to trade a different strategy, or you may need to completely just change your idea of what you want to do for income, or you may need to go and get a part-time job while you trade, or you may need to just go off and pursue something completely different. So there are multiple different ideas. I'm going to give you some ideas here. But you also don't want to give up too soon either. Again, I don't want to push this idea that if you don't have results, you should give up, because that's not true either. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time to find the strategy that works for you. But what I think is that when you find that particular strategy, it starts to click pretty soon, and you start to see, if you're data driven and you look at the data, you start to see that this is actually something that will work for me versus this is something that won't. And I've been through that myself. I'm going to share some stories soon that I've been through a few different strategies until I came to a strategy that I knew worked for me. It integrated really well with my lifestyle, integrated really well with what I want to do with Master Your Trading Mindset, the performance and education business, and it just works for me, and I can see that I get results with it because it resonates so well with me. But there've also been strategies in the past that I've traded that I thought were the strategy I wanted to trade, and I was caught up in this whole mentality, this vicious cycle of, let me just refine a little bit more, refine a little bit more. When I took a step back and I took the blinders off, I realized, no, you know what, this doesn't work for me. And you have to be ruthlessly honest with the data. That's what's going to help you make the best decision. Now, another thing that is important is, as you're going into a drawdown, or as you're going into a period in your strategy when it's not working, scale your risk back. Okay, I have my risk management protocol that I teach in detail in the 12-week program, but you want to scale your risk back. The reason you want to do this is because sometimes the emotions of really poor results, which is then compensated in the mind for the fantasy of the future of trying to make that money back or make more money, actually clouds your ability to objectively look at the data. So as you start to scale your risk down, as you go into deep drawdown, you start to look at the data more objectively, and you start to make the wisest decision possible. So keep that in mind. It's a little added bonus. Now, again, this is pretty harsh, but I want to bring balance to the argument that's out there. But you really don't want to be looking at anybody for the answers, right? You don't want to be looking for my approval of your strategy, or your mentor's approval of your strategy or your performance. The best you can do as a trader is have a look at the data and test it out and see if it's working or if it's not working. To be fair, a lot of mentors don't know. I don't know what strategy is going to work in the long run, because nobody knows what's going to happen next in the market. But the thing that will tell you the answer is the data. And the data is king in this situation. To make objective decisions, you have to objectively look at the data, unemotionally, without bias. That's not easy to do, but it's what's necessary to do to make the best possible decisions. Now, the best you can do as a trader is, at the end of the day, you will be tested by the market. Okay, this is a really important key point. At the end of the day, it's just you and the market. Your mentor isn't there, your guru isn't there, the person who taught you the strategy isn't there. It's just you and the market. So at the end of the day, you want to be looking at the data to help you make the best decisions. After you've created a trading plan, you need to ensure historically it has an edge. So maybe, let's say, for example, you join a community. This is what I personally did. You join a community, you learn a strategy, and you then take that strategy based on what you learn, and you go into the market and you back test that strategy. You see, does this strategy play out historically in the market? And the answer may be yes, the answer may be no. If it's a no, you want to go and find a different strategy. But if it's yes, all right, this strategy actually shows that it has a positive expectancy in the market, and it works for me, and I've tested that, and I can see that it has an edge. Now, what you want to do is you then create a trading plan based on that, based on the historical data, and you've got a system that you know works based on historical data. Now, just because it works based on historical data doesn't mean it's going to work in the future, but that's the best we can do as traders. We can just trade an edge based on historical data, and this is why trading can be very difficult, is because nothing's guaranteed. But the best we can do as a trader is trade that edge that we've defined based on historical data over a large sample space, and it's more likely than not going to have a positive expectancy in the future, and more likely than not we're going to make money from it. So just because the market moved a certain way in the past doesn't mean it's going to move that way in the future. It's probabilistic. This is why you want to stop listening to your mentors. You want to stop listening to the person who taught you for whether this strategy will work or not. You have to look at the data. You have to prove it for yourself. And you have to be open to knowing that the market may change and you may have to change with it in the future. So you want to prove your edge by looking at historical data and execute on the edge ruthlessly. This is the most you can do as a trader. Now, the journey, is it a mindset thing or is it a technical thing? How do you know when you need to refine your mindset? How do you know when you need to refine your strategy? So step one as a trader is creating a system that has an edge that works for you. So you may go to a community, you may learn from that mentor, you may take this information on board, and then you want to make sure based on historical data that that strategy has a proven edge and it works, or it has worked in the past. You also want to make sure that it works for you. Okay? I know for me personally, the previous strategy I was at, that I had to have a very honest and frank conversation with myself and say, you know what, it's a great strategy. I hoped it worked, but it just doesn't work. If I'm looking at it honestly, there's too many discretionary components towards it. It just doesn't work for me. Okay? And I had to move and pivot and find a different strategy that I know works for me now. And I have certainty in the fact that it works for me. Now, there may come a point in the future where I realize that it's not working for me anymore, and I'm gonna have to move on again and find something different, or scale back my trading, or it may come to the point where I wanna do more trading, I wanna add an additional strategy. So you have to be open, you have to be fluid, you have to be willing to move and adjust and pivot. But you also have to be rigid enough to not change something too soon that will work over a larger sample space. And that's a really fine balance to strike. And that's why I can't say that your stuff will work or it won't. You have to use the data to make decisions. So step one is do that. Step two is systematize the strategy by putting into a trading plan, a step-by-step trading plan. Now, if you don't have a step-by-step trading plan, chances are every time you go to the market, you're going to make a different decision, so you don't have an edge. So you want to make sure you've systematized your trading plan and you consistently execute on that edge, that trading plan. Step three is mastering your trading mindset, fear and greed. This is when, after you've learned a strategy, you've maybe created a trading plan from it, you've systematized it, you come to something like the 12-week program, or you come to my YouTube and you learn everything from my YouTube, and then you go into the 12-week program. You learn each of the 12 steps that I teach to mastering your trading mindset, mastering fear and greed, learning about your psychology, learning how to neutralize the subconsciously stored baggage. You do that to manage the emotions that are going to take you away from your trading plan. You go to my program to learn how to manage your psychology so you can consistently execute on your trading plan and the edge you've learned from your mentor. Now, if you're not getting results, you want to honestly look at that and say to yourself, look, I'm just not getting results. Find which part of the three steps you maybe skipped or you're struggling with, okay? If, for example, you haven't found a strategy that actually has an edge, you need to start there. Maybe you found that, but maybe you haven't created a trading plan from it. And so every time you go to the market, you're not trading an edge. You're trading based on how you feel. So you need to go to step two and systematize a strategy that you know. Or maybe you've already done those two steps, but you're still not getting results. So maybe it's a fear and greed thing. Maybe you're too fearful to act in the market, or maybe you're too greedy and you take setups that aren't part of your trading plan. So that's where the 12-week program will be essential to come and learn those principles so you can give yourself permission to execute on the edge you know you have. But it's all about looking at the data. You need to look at the data and make that decision based on what feedback you're getting from the market, okay? Now, when is it time to throw in the towel? Because there are different gradations to this. The first piece of advice is you have to be making data-driven decisions. I really wish that the strategy before worked for me, but when I looked at the data, it just didn't. And that was a very difficult conversation to have with myself. There was a lot of sunk cost fallacy there where I had to can something that I put so much time and energy into and had invested so much into it. But objectively, based on the data, was the right decision to make. So these are the types of decisions, the ruthless, unemotional, data-driven decisions one needs to make the wisest decision for themselves. You have to be ruthlessly honest with your results. If things aren't working, you need to change things up. But you also don't want to change things up too soon, because you may just be, 3 or 4 trades in a drawdown based on an edge that actually allows 3 to 4 losses in a row before you then go on a winning streak. So you want to be objective. You want to diagnose the problem, because diagnosing the problem is just as important as finding a solution. Where in those 3 stages am I maybe fallen a little bit too short? Is it the strategy? Is it my processes, my trading plan, or is it my mindset? And then you want to find adequate solutions for that. So this may mean refining your strategy. You may go back, and if your results aren't great, you may want to go back and refine your strategy. Okay, maybe you need to tweak up your strategy a little bit. Maybe you need to create or refine your trading plan to ensure that it's process-based and outlined properly. Maybe it's about going off and learning more about your psychology and becoming part of the 12-week program and integrating the principles there so you can stick to the strategy you have. Or maybe it's completely changing up your strategy because your strategy just is too aggressive, or the risks too much, or the time zones don't work for you, or it's too discretionary, okay? So maybe you need to change your strategy and learn from a different strategy. Or maybe you have such a high value on something else in your life that you can't focus, you don't have discipline to your trading because you'd rather be focused elsewhere. And this is where I brought in my 2 examples before of the 2 consulting clients I had. Both of them, it was obvious to me the way they spoke, where their energy went, and how they spoke so vibrantly about other projects they were working on, that their mind was there. So what I suggested to them is take a few months off, focus on the other projects. And after that few months, maybe you want to decide, do you want to come back to trading, or do you want to not trade entirely at all and just focus on those other projects? And for both of them, they went off and pursued their projects full time after a couple months. They realized that they just don't enjoy trading anymore. They want to focus on those projects. Now, it may mean quitting entirely for some people, but what I suggest before you do throw in the towel is have a couple months off, take a step back, reevaluate. Sometimes you need a couple months to let all the emotions die down a little bit to then objectively see what's going on with clarity, and then you can make a more informed decision. For some people, they just had unrealistic expectations in their trading, and that's why they're disappointed. That's why they want to give up. They thought they would have accomplished it sooner, right? So make sure you have realistic expectations on what trading is going to give you. Make sure you have a strategy that actually has an edge. Make sure you have a mechanical trading plan that you could execute on the same way each time you come to the market. Make sure you've mastered your emotions. Come to the 12-week program. I teach you how to do it there. And then if you do those things, you need to diagnose, and you're not getting results, you need to diagnose the problem. Maybe it's a strategy. Maybe you need to change strategy. Maybe you just need to take some time off. Maybe your heart's elsewhere and you just want to pursue something else rather than trading. Maybe sometimes you just need a part-time job to bring in some income so you can objectively execute on your plan and stop making such irrational decisions because you need to make money so quickly. Sometimes you just need to quiet down unrealistic expectations about what you think trading is going to give you. So there are so many different variations here that I don't necessarily think throwing in the towel is always the thing you want to jump to straight away, but sometimes it's the wisest decisions for some individuals, but that's very rarely the case. So my advice here is make data-driven decisions. You've got a lot of different options. You've got a gradation of options that you can choose from, a buffet of options, and that's really the mindset I want to promote. There's always options. There's always options. So it may not be a black or white decision, there's scales of gray. Usually, sometimes taking it a few months off is the best option. The market's not going anywhere. Take a bit of time off, reevaluate your life situation, reevaluate your trading objectively from a non-emotional perspective, and then come back and diagnose the problems and put solutions in place. But yeah, hopefully this is insightful. So in summary, be honest with your results and make data-driven decisions. Giving up may not be necessary, but giving up may be the best decision for you at times. I think the best thing to do is take some time off. If you are considering giving up, reevaluate your life, reevaluate your strategy, make sure you have an edge there, make sure you have a trading plan, make sure you've mastered your emotions, and then you can come back and make a wise decision about what you want to do with your trading. So hopefully this was insightful. Again, if you resonate with these lectures, the 12-week program is going to completely blow your mind in terms of what you can learn from a trading psychology perspective and how you can implement that into your trading with actual tools, accountability to ensure you get brain change, to start seeing better results, to get funded, etc., etc. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.